up is Mr. Peters.
Oh, there's Kim.
And Kim, who's now here. Kim was an add-on. And Dave is already getting waxed, I see. So
5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Did everybody get a copy or the agenda that I sent out just a little while ago?
I didn't get the agenda. I got a copy of the last month's meeting minutes.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, that's right. You didn't get the invite to this. You said you didn't get the link. Well, you're just going to have to kind of figure it out as we go along here. Unless you want me, I can share my screen briefly.
Yeah, that's fine. I just cover the top.
It's really pretty straightforward. The usual. All right, well, I got 6:34, so I would really like to kind of commence this meeting, unless nobody has any objections, asking unanimous consent, all that.
Go for it.
All right. Well, first of all, let's start off with a word of prayer, shall we? Father in heaven, thank you for allowing us to come together onto this meeting and to discuss this this important ministry and to focus on the building committee aspects of it. It's important work, and we thank you for putting it in the hearts and minds of the individuals on this call today to volunteer their time and to come together and focus on it and to continue to move this ministry forward. And so we just ask that you continue to bless this ministry as you've done in the past, and we give you all the credit for it. And we just ask for your help in making these decisions. These things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Righty then. So let me go to the agenda. I wanted to give a brief update on progress towards affiliate goals. As we had discussed it before, we wanted to do that in these meetings. Hold on a second. I'm getting some kind of a
Hey, James, I went ahead and I cut and pasted the agenda into the chat box. So if people click on their chat box, they can see the agenda from there.
Okay.
What's the
I
chat
appreciate that. It's kind of like a doghouse, but different. I updated the numbers. They didn't change a whole lot from last month. A lot of things have been on hold, obviously, but so far, as of right now, we've completed 5 new builds / recycles, and they're housing 19 people. That does not count 709 Jefferson, which we are in the midst of finishing up if we could ever get the city of McKinney to read their own paperwork. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll get a CO on that house. As far as NR projects or repair projects, I'm sorry, is someone trying to, okay. So as far as NR projects are concerned, as of now, we've closed 23 projects for 43 people. That number hasn't changed since our last meeting. There are several projects that are very close to closing. Scott has been subbing out a lot of work on repair projects, and several of them are very close, but also some of them are not going to be done until we can get volunteers out to paint them. So that number really hasn't moved, but it doesn't imply that we haven't done an awful lot of work in that area and moved the ball forward. We just haven't closed out any projects this last few weeks. I did want to point out that normally during this time of year, we would be celebrating Plano's Love Where You Live project that they usually do in the end of April, and that project was completely canceled. All the meetings associated with it and all the repair projects that would have normally happened in Plano got canceled due to the virus. So that definitely kind of impacts us from a number standpoint. So that's kind of where we are as far as reporting against those statistics. Bob is on the line here, so there's this activity associated with what I've been calling building technique, and so I just kind of wanted to turn it over to Bob to let him give an update on where we are with that.
We're still at the very beginning of that, but our goal is to combine the north and the south build books. There are some big differences. Before we start that, we're going to Dave May and I are going to try to standardize our building materials. We have a lot of things that we do differently from the north and the south. We will get some input from some of you folks, not Paul, but some other folks, and then we will get back to you. Dave, do you have anything to add?
Well, I've kind of gone through what information I had, and I got Frank to help me download stuff off of James's computer for the different manuals. And I've found bits and pieces. I've found most of McKinney's material, I think, in training sessions. So quite a bit of it is very similar, but there's probably just a few areas that, like Bob said, we need to kind of work on the building materials, I guess, and techniques before we get into the actual part of the manual. But I've just kind of made a matrix for my part of what revisions we have in the Plano manual versus the McKinney manual, and I can provide those, whenever people are ready for them. But anyway, that's basically what I've done so far.
All right, James, that's it.
So I just guess I'd kind of summarize that as, we're still gathering information. Is that safe to say, or is there more to it than that?
Actually, now that we have a little time on organization, since Dave May is part of it, we can move forward a little faster than when it was just me working on it. I think we'll be able to send out some stuff end of this week, beginning of next week, and get some feedback on materials, options, and then some build procedures also.
Okay. So is there a specific distribution list or something like that that information will be shared with? Is there kind of like I'm just wondering if there's kind of, if we have accomplished forming like a subcommittee, if you will, of this committee. I know I put out the word several times to say, hey, if you're interested in this project, contact Bob and express your interest so that we can kind of form a small group of people, because I think what we decided was that to try to do this task with like a changing group of anywhere between 5 and 20 people was not really going to be an effective way to go through this. So do you think we're closing in on that?
There's a core group of 6, 3 from the north, 3 from the south. Some of the more vocal builders, and we just haven't shared anything with them yet, but that they know they're in the loop. So we'll get their once we get anything put together, we could share with a larger group. But on some of the materials, we need to, I guess, start with you and I and Scott and Rick on what we want to use, what's available to use, and then go from there. It's not going to be just wide open. We're going to have some limits on what our choices are.
Yeah, okay. All right, fair enough. So you think you'll be sharing information with that subcommittee sometime next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir, I do.
Is it a secret as to who those people are?
I don't have my list. It's caulk, Vince, Dennis, Jim Peters. I've forgotten the other ones.
That's 4. Well, you got Dave May,
Yeah,
right?
5.
Dave and maybe Larry. I forgot if he decided not he didn't want to do it or not. But I wanted to get the ones that had opinions and let them.
Well, it's got to be a South person. Is it James Tellier?
Yes, that's who it is. James Tellier.
Yeah, I thought he was in the group.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're going to let them. For example, we'll say that we're going to use a smart siding, and we'll let them agree or disagree and give their reason why they agree or disagree with that choice, and then kind of move on. You know, we know we're going to go away from Hardy and do smart siding, but we want everyone to have their opinion and see if we can't, you know, if it's worth listening to, or if it's worth observing. So that's kind of where we are. Very beginning, but we're ready to move. We're ready to move now.
Okay, fair enough.
I think in regards to that too, I think in this manual, a lot of our repair projects are going to be of different materials too. So I think we need to have, if there are already chapters or sections or whatever of these different building techniques or materials, because whenever we have to go off and do a repair on a hardy house or a vinyl siding house, you know, the people that are going to be doing it need to know how to go about it and what it takes, what's involved in that process.
Okay, fair enough. Dave, can you transition us over and talk a little bit about the stuff going on within the shop and specifically the doghouse project?
Yeah, if I didn't keep getting interrupted, I had to have the doghouses done.
Hey, no more virus stuff.
I have between James Tellier and Vince, we've got 2 doghouses built, and I've kind of screwed up on the last one. I forgot to put the drip edge around it, but I'll try to do that tomorrow when I come in.
Did you get the rain gutters up?
Not yet. That's subcontracted out.
From what?
But I've got two styles, and they're the same size doghouse, and it's probably for about a 40, 50 pound dog, I suppose. But one of them has got a standard gable roof. Those of you that haven't seen them.
Hold on, somebody's having a conversation here, Dave. Let me try to figure out who it is.
Someone's got to pay for it.
You're right. They're gonna have to take
Yeah.
savings, or they're paying for more.
Okay.
So I'm just letting you know. I can't pull any. There isn't any there to pull.
Oh, this is
Okay.
fascinating. We're recording this.
Why you need to show here?
Can you shut the door, please?
I was trying to figure out who that is.
Paul,
Stomach hurts. Tired.
Is it Paul? Hold on, let me mute him. Oh yeah, it got quiet.
There you go.
Okay, sorry about that. Go
Anyway,
ahead, Dave.
I've got we've got 2 different style dog houses. One's just a slant roof. The other one's got a gabled roof on it, and it looks, you know, fairly similar to our habitat houses. But the one is a little bit simpler to make than the other one. But as y'all get a chance to walk through the shop and take a look at them, I'd be interested in your opinions on which one you think looks the best, so we can either concentrate on that style or right now it looks like, you know, in order to satisfy both restores, I'm gonna have to have a duplicate set for each each store, and trying to get that taken care of in a timely fashion is going to be probably a little bit of an issue. But anyway, like I said, I've got one of each kind built now, but then we need to probably look at building a different size, and I think probably for a larger dog than a smaller dog, because I don't know too many people that leave a small dog out in the backyard in a doghouse, unless they're just out there during the afternoon for a little sunbathing or something. But smaller dogs become lunch for our environmental friends, so I think we probably need to maybe concentrate on probably a 40, 50-pound dog or larger.
Have you done any manuals or instruction or material list or whatever on the 2 prototypes?
I have sketches and drawings, not descriptive. I don't have any narrative on the assembly part of it, but I've got sketches and dimensions of the different materials that we use to make the 2 dog houses that we have made. So
Okay.
I just need to maybe make copies of it available.
Hey,
Right.
Dave. Hey,
Yeah.
Dave, my wife wants to know if you can build one for my backyard, so whenever I'm in the doghouse, I have a nice place to go to.
Probably gonna have to have more scrap material.
Yeah. Yeah, and it ain't a 25-pound dog or a 50-pound. It'd be a big one.
Yeah, he
Well-
needs air conditioning.
No, we
too.
do. We've got plans for a shed.
Oh, well, that'd be great.
I
Diane,
thought that's what I was
Diane-
building out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Gary's new office.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that another impact to the shop, which is going to become very real very soon, is the need for some space, probably more on the warehouse side than in the shop, but some need for some space to manufacture metal components for the container homes. Larry and our welder Billy have begun, pretty much completed, at least the basics of a metal staircase now in the training center. And very soon we would like to figure out the logistics of figuring out how we're going to manufacture 35 sets of stairs at some point. And so the plan right now is to purchase the materials for 2 or 3 sets of stairs and to actually construct them in the shop, such that we can kind of figure out how to do it, in mass. So you can kind of think of it as a manufacturing prototype. But now that, Larry and Billy have sorted out exactly what the dimensions of everything are, we're getting very close to wanting to be able to move into a production environment, and that's going to have some impact on the space. So I guess I just want to point that out.
Are we gonna be able to build those in the shop or out in the parking lot somewhere, or in the?
No, they really need to be manufactured in the shop, and there's a lot of logistical stuff that has to get figured out.
Well, what a point I was trying to make is using a welder, you're gonna have a lot of sparks and stuff that's subject to combustible material. So unless we use a wide open space over in the warehouse side,
Yeah.
I mean, over in the shop area, there's a lot of combustible material that would be kind of a hazard, I think.
No, I think you're right. I think the current area we're looking at as far as the actual welding processes are concerned would be in the warehouse, not far from the back wall, because Dave Cox has got to install the proper power for any welding equipment. And we've tested out a small welder that was donated, and we think that might work for us. But yeah, you're right. It's going to have to be over in an area where there's nothing but kind of concrete in the immediate vicinity.
And
You might want to consider an exhaust fan
because electric welders put off some really nasty chemical gas.
Well, my boss won't let me have one in the training center. I've been breathing that stuff for weeks now. Maybe that explains why this headache of mine.
Well, hey, James, we're really not doing any galvanized, which that's what you really got to worry about.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So James, with that, we need to talk a little bit more when you get closer to that, because I'm gonna have to do a request another permit going forward.
For
From the
welding in the
city.
shop?
Hot works permit, yes.
Okay.
In that staircase, are there pieces that are going to have to be holes drilled in or edges ground down and stuff like that, or what?
There was some grinding that they were doing. There was some plasma cutting that they were doing, but we're going to get a bandsaw that's capable of cutting the metal that we're cutting to try to keep down some of that, to A, increase accuracy, and B, decrease sparks and whatnot flying around all the time.
We have in the shop, though, we do have a grinder and a drill press. So that's my reason for my questions.
Yeah, there is some drilling into the angle iron where the treads will be attached, because the staircase is built out of all metal, but there's just a frame for a tread, and the tread will be attached with screws to 1-inch angle iron that kind of holds it up all the way around its perimeter. But the current prototype's in the training center. If anyone wants to take a look at it, you're welcome to do that. Just let me know. So that's kind of, as far as I know, that's the two major things going on within the shop. I did want to kind of summarize upcoming projects. Now, a lot of this stuff is on hold, and it's going to stay on hold until some developments are done with regards to COVID-19 and sponsors wanting to get moving and whatnot. But with regards to the repair projects on the NR side, there are currently 19 projects in the pipeline that will affect 39 family members living in those houses. I know I had mentioned that the Plano Love Where You Live project had been canceled. Sorry, but the city of Allen has a Change the World program where it's something similar, where they do a bunch of house repairs, and they have decided to go forward with their projects, but they're going to stretch them out, and instead of trying to do them all in one weekend, and by all I mean anywhere from 15 to 20 repair projects in the city of Allen. Usually they do them over a 3-day span, but they're actually going to kind of spread them out and work on them with much smaller teams. But they still very much want their projects to continue. So I'm working with them to try to supply them with some tool storage and any other tools or paint or whatever it is they may need. So that's going to be going on beginning probably the end of this week is when they'll just get started, and it'll start in earnest next week. And so those projects don't count in that 19 projects that I mentioned were on the pipeline. With regards to McKinney, there is 707 Jefferson, which is basically ready to go, but we are in a holding pattern until the sponsors are ready to get started on that house. But it is ready. Brian did a great job of getting the slab in the ground and getting that thing ready for us to frame when we're ready to do it. The 1135 and a half F Avenue house in Plano has been on hold pending some paperwork issues, whatnot, but also because we were kind of holding off on it because of the sponsors again wanting to work on it. But we are sort of reaching a point here where we're going to need to get some work, going on it and not continue to hold on it. So Bob is going to be getting some subcontractors started out there just as soon as possible. so that that project will begin. And we'll be having some volunteer groups once we get the sponsors on board. So that'll go on in Plano.
Do we
James,
still have the same deadline because of our grant for that one?
Well, so the city hasn't let us off the deadline hook in writing, but they have certainly told us verbally that, you know, nobody's going to get held to anything when it comes to this virus stuff. But, you know, they haven't put that in writing, so I'm always concerned because I'm not sure that the getting the house closed on time now is going to be you know, that likely or feasible. But I'm pretty confident, based upon the conversations that Bob has had with NOPON over at the City of Plano, that we're going to be given some extra time to get this thing done and get those people moved in. That's just kind of the reality of the situation on that house.
that was what my question was going to be. What was NOPON? Was she going to? Were we still adhere to our deadline on that? So okay, that just answered my question.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, did you have anything else to kind of add to that? From, you know, you're the one who's actually been talking to NOPON on a regular basis on this thing. Bob, you're muted. I don't know if I did that to you or not. Let me hold on. Okay, are you there, Bob?
I am here.
Yeah. So, anything you wanted to add from your perspective on conversations with NOPON at the City of Plano?
Yeah, you're right. She has not said or put it in writing that we can have an extra month, but she did say that they're not going to hold us to our current deadline. So that's about the same thing. But she does want it done early, you know, if we can. So we will try.
Yeah. Okay. So Diane, I don't know if that gives you any level of comfort or not, but it is kind of where we're at.
And what's left to be done there?
Well,
all we've done is
go ahead, Bob.
so we have the roof, water heater, windows, doors, flooring. We now have the homeowner list of what they want, the colors and everything. So we're going to do it in a smart order, so we don't have to redo anything. So we're going to try to paint the doors. We will do the windows as soon as they come in, but we're trying to use the volunteers that signed up for it, and Harley was one of them. We don't want to ignore them, but there's going to come a time when we have to get going. So we will start with the roof and the plumbing and the electrical and HVAC. So then it's just us volunteers doing the work.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Hold on, I lost my place on my agenda here. So there's also a build to be done in Salina at 210 East Oak. This is the house that we were going to use one of Jim Brickman's companies, Trophy Homes, to build the house out in Salina. That house got put on hold again because Trophy Homes decided that they needed, you know, time to deal with this virus-related stuff. So it's still on hold. We did, however, complete the soil remediation that was necessary on that site to make the engineer happy that we could safely pour a slab on that dirt out there. That work has been completed, and so I'm kind of holding off on doing anything else there until we get some clarity from Trophy Homes, which, you know, we hope as the virus stuff kind of wears down or winds up or whatever, that we'll get that soon.
James, I have a quick question. I haven't been out there in a while. The neighbor's shed, is that still encroaching on the lot, or what have you guys done with that?
Well, Brian didn't brief me or anything. I'm not aware of any encroachment issues. You may know more about it than I do, though. But we were prepared to get started on that house. Brian was about to pull the permit Actually, I'm sorry, Trophy Homes was about to pull the permit just the minute we got the soil remediation done.
Okay, I may
Until
have to
everything
shoot out
stopped.
there and I may shoot out there tomorrow and take a look.
Yeah, definitely. If you think there's any issues, we need to figure it out.
I'm not so sure it's as much crossing our line as just being on the line.
Is on
and
the line,
ugly-
yeah.
And ugly. So
Yep.
Bryant and I talked about a fence to cover it up. It's an old shed or something. I haven't been out there either, but it's a shed or
Yeah,
chicken
but
coop or something like that.
yeah,
What
one
is
good
it?
blow, it'll blow over into the yard.
So it's since he's a veteran, we might be able to get Home Depot to come out and help with the fence. But,
We did
yeah,
a Scott did a home repair on that home last year.
Okay.
So we have to talk to Scott.
So, Kim, you want to give us a little brief update on where we are with Cotton Groves? Speaking of upcoming projects.
Sure. We have street was poured almost 2 weeks ago now, so we're excited about that. They're gonna come and do some grading this week. We had some manhole issues with an existing and new manhole. Celeste was able to talk with the city and have the city lower the new manhole that's encroaching into our driveway approach. And they're going to not remove, but close in the old unusable manhole. So we're moving along with that. Next up after this will be franchise utilities installation, and then sidewalks will come in, and then a few other steps, and then we go to get city inspections and final approval and get record plat done, and then we can build. So that's about another maybe 3 to 4 months out.
Okay.
I think we had a question also about telephone and those kind of services. Are they back behind the houses, or are they still at the street?
I'm on the phones.
I have to look at the, I have to look at the layout. I don't have it in front of me, but I can ask.
Okay,
I'll give you that answer tomorrow.
sounds good.
Okay, just 1 minute. So, and with regards to the training center, the training center has been kind of moving along, but relatively slowly, as I'm sure you've all noticed. Right now, we are planning on putting the rock facade on it next week. And we're about to finish trades. I mean, Dave, I think you're getting pretty close to being done with the rough end, right?
Pretty
Dave,
close. Pretty close. I muted mine.
Okay. So you're within a day or two or whatever of being done?
Yes.
Yeah. So once that's completed, then we can start calling out inspections on the inside. Now, there is one other thing holding us up, and that is the review of a fire plan by the city of McKinney. And between that and our fire contractor, and I've been making lots of phone calls trying to get that figured out and sorted out and completed, and that's not yet done. So I'm not going to be able to call any of those trade inspections until that fire review is completed and the deputy fire marshal releases our permit. So that's pretty much so where we are with regards to where the training center is at. Now, the rough ends are basically done, but they all have to be inspected, and we have to pass framing inspections, which require engineering letters and the like. And then we'll move on to insulation and drywall and finish up. So that is kind of where we're at with regards to the training center. I don't anticipate that, the training center finishing up really fast, just because we are attempting to find every problem we can find and learn as much as we can while we're doing this. It's not just about slamming it together and being done with it. It's more about learning as much as we can along the process while getting it done. So that's kind of where we're at with regards to Cotton Groves and the training center. There is a recycle home, another recycle home coming up in Wiley. The homeowner's already been approved and whatnot, and actually they've already made their finished selections. It's just the scope of work is going to be quite limited. It's one of the duplexes that were built in Wiley back in, that one was probably 2013, maybe 2012, probably 2012. And the house was in actually really good condition when it was turned over to us. So we're basically going to be replacing floors and countertops, and we do want to give them a new water heater and a new air conditioning system, so that they won't have issues within just a few years of moving in. So that is basically the plan for that, and I anticipate us basically getting in and out of that project probably within a 90-day turnaround time, give or take. But there will be some limited volunteer opportunities out there. Bob will be running that project, and so you'll probably be hearing more details from him as it gets really close to being done, get started, I mean. And then there's a couple other lots. I'm sorry. Someone trying to say something? Okay, never mind. Kim, I was wondering if you could speak to the lots that we have out there in Wiley and Princeton.
Yes, in Wiley.
Wiley and Princeton.
Okay, the lots 100 South 5th Street. Working with Chris on putting we're either going to do a duplex or 2 townhomes on that lot. So the lot is zoned multifamily, and we can put two homes on that lot.
Did you say it's already zoned for multifamily?
Yeah, it's been zoned multifamily. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it'd be like a duplex there, or did you say, or when you say a couple of townhomes, do you see them being attached or not?
No, we're looking at possibly detached townhomes. So that's the part that we're trying to figure out with we're not trying to do a shared drive. So he's working on something creative.
Okay. So design work is still underway on that?
Yes. And then Princeton.
Yep.
The Princeton cul-de-sac, initially it was going to be 6 lots, but we had a walkover with our civil engineer a couple of weeks ago, and one of the odd-shaped lots is going to be very, very difficult to put a home on there. So now we're down to possibly just 5 lots, and figuring out what we're going to do with that lot. Maybe just have it as a green space, or I don't know. We're in the talks of that. But we're going to have our traditional habitat homes on there, 3 and 4 bedroom floor plan.
Okay. So when we talk about the design work, we're not just talking about the houses, but we're also trying to figure out what to do with that other area, that non-buildable lot, if you will, that small area.
Yes.
For a green space, trying to figure out how to make that in such a way that it's not a burden for anyone to maintain.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, so that was the agenda. I'd like to open it up for any other comments, concerns, whatever that anybody on the video might have at this point.
I've got one that's, I keep running into, and I can't remember what her last name is. It's either Maria or Rodriguez or Martinez. Diane or Mary is the real little Hispanic lady. We built a house, and I think it's on, is it G, in front of the right
Right by the
beside
cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I run into her quite a bit, and she keeps asking me about an issue she's got. Her house, I guess the windows apparently are sweating quite a bit, and she's starting to get some mold buildup and all that stuff. So I told her to call the office and get that resolved. There's nothing I can do for her, but something that I guess the office has to address. But I'm not sure what the warranty period is on those, but I think she's been there she told me about 10 years. So
Yeah, I'd say you should have been there 10 years.
So,
I know in some of those earlier homes, we had a lot of problem with, not being able to get the moisture out. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what we did. We went and put a vent, outside vent in there, or exactly what.
I think we started with just cutting off some of the doors so that, they could get air movement inside. But
So
yeah,
I don't know the specific rooms or the whole house or exactly what. Got going and take a look at it, and of course that's depending upon the time when you go out there as to whether or not you got sweating of windows. But anyway,
let me ask. I mean, Bob, have you heard this one come up on the radar screen at all? Because this isn't ringing any bells for me.
It's not on Bryant's list. No.
No, it's not.
It's Maria Hilly. That's her last name, Hilly.
Maria Hilly. Yeah, that's not ringing any bells for me.
She put in an application for home repair.
Is she currently on the list?
If I'm not mistaken, let me. And I can't remember if she's been approved or not. I'm gonna have to check the list, but I know that name.
Would it be on G Avenue, Plano?
I don't remember her address, but I know the name.
Okay.
I know there is an NR project coming up in Plano for the First United Methodist Church in Plano. I'm not sure this is it though. That I think is on G. I want to say like 1129 or something like that.
I don't remember her address.
But anyway, so
all those names
Bob,
and addresses run together.
Bob, please put it on your list of things to check up on. We can see who in the office might have this call, if it has indeed come into the office, because I'm not sure, but it's possible it's on somebody's voicemail somewhere.
And Mary and I were the house leaders on that, so if you could include us when I'd like to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. We'll be glad to use your name in vain all over the place when we're talking.
I know the sandwich panel houses. I mean, they were so that young tight that we did have to go in there and put in a air recirculation vent in those for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you bringing that up because, like I said, I'm not specifically aware of it, at least just by memory here. So, we'll track that one down. Okay, active list. So were there any other either concerns, comments, anything like that, or is everybody doing okay? I mean, I'm kind of curious if anyone's had any major developments or anything with regards to this virus stuff and whatnot. Is everyone out there all right?
I'm good.
Good to hear that.
I'm good.
I get yelled at quite a bit for not minding what I'm supposed to be doing, but
I hear you.
Need a new doghouse, Dave.
yeah. Is anybody coming in the shop tomorrow, James?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, I'm gonna try to come in and try to get those two doghouses finished.
Okay.
I have a concern. It's kind of a safety concern that I'd like to bring up. The tool storage area. Above the tool storage area in the warehouse, there's a material storage area, and it is dark. You come in there from being outside or in a bright spot place, your eyes do not adjust, and you really need light up there. Is there a way we could have fluorescent lights drop off like Unistrut or something and just run power to them?
Probably. There's the circuit downstairs that we could probably use that is in the bottom store, the tool shed.
Okay. I'd be glad to help. Of course, I'm not just complaining, but it is kind of a safety concern, being so dark up there. And I'll be glad to work with anyone.
Peters is on the call.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal to do it. And
So-
I suggest we just put a couple LED fluorescent /fluorescent 4-foot
that would be
fixtures up
great.
there and pull them off. As Dave said, they can be pulled off of the circuit that's for down below, which is powered off a transformer just off the west wall of that.
Okay.
So,
I was checking it out. There's no way to really run anything except an extension cord, and I know that wouldn't be compliant.
No, you can't leave. I mean, the fire marshal will throw you out if you do that.
Yeah, I understand. That's why I'm bringing it up now, because it is so dark up there that you really can't see to do anything.
Yeah.
Especially
Okay.
especially if the tool room light is off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said, I'll be glad to help. I'm not just here to complain. I'll help if you need
I can get
help hang
it. I
this
can
up
get to
right
it
at
next week.
yeah. Hey, Jim, could you say a couple words about the trailer labeling thing? I know you got some labels and whatnot, and we were
Right.
trying to figure out how to organize these trailers.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna, I mean, they've got a bunch of T's and line numbers, and it's gonna be T1 and right on down the line, and then create a record list that matches that up to a just physical description and also the tag number on that trailer.
Yeah, because we'd really like to be able to identify the keys for the trailer locks and the trailer,
Oh, yeah.
the hitch
And
locks.
I mean, that was gonna be part of it too,
yeah,
is just
yeah.
to take all the keys out there and figure out who's on first.
Yeah, because Bryant had a great system that worked really well for him, but like I don't know which one is the 2016 10-foot trailer, whatever. I mean.
Yeah, and we've added several trailers in the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, there is one set of keys in there that says new truck, whatever that means, right?
The Dodge, right?
I have no idea. I can't remember which truck it is, but it's a mystery anyways. Anyways, that's kind of where everything's at.
It was my plan to do
James?
that sometime next week.
Okay.
Hey,
Kim.
James, I just looked it up, and I do have an app in for Maria. She's 1109 H Avenue.
Oh, okay.
She was asking for foundation and kitchen flooring repairs, broken windows, doors, siding, and house painting. And Dawn, now that Dawn is doing intake, Dawn is working up on that file. So I will follow up with Dawn tomorrow to see what the status is, if she's been approved or not.
Okay, great. Bob, did you hear that?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
She did tell me she had a crack in the kitchen floor, but I don't know if it's a foundation problem or just aging vinyl or what?
Yeah, so, and I asked Ruthie if she's covered under warranty. She said she closed on her home on May 2010. So it's almost 2 years old. So she has a warranty for the foundation and it's about to expire.
What address is that?
1109 H Avenue.
It's right next to the rec center.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have anything for tonight?
Hey, Bob, you want me to bring those manuals I've got in tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, in case somebody else needs to look at them.
Well, yeah, I want Rick to look at them.
Okay.
Rick can't tie his shoe. He needs some help.
All right, I'll bring him in tomorrow.
All right. I'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
All right. Well, if that's it, everybody, that's all I had on the list. So thank you very much, and everybody have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What do we do here to leave the meeting?